Hi, I don't know when this starts, so I just start talking. But we're live. Hi, welcome back to my channel. So as the title depicts, I'm going to be answering some questions that I get frequently for some odd reason. Some of these questions, I think, are from trolls. And some of these questions I think are legit. So I'm just going to answer them just because I think it's right. Um, Also, this is day 3 of seasoning this corset. So it is, it's kind of snug. It feels fine. It's a CS201 from Orchard Corset, and it's a size 22 inches. Um, Before we move forward, please like this video. It really helps my channel, and subscribe if you haven't already. Whew, I haven't been live in a long time. All right. Also, I want to mention that I have been posting blog posts on my website, my blog, website, whatever you want to call it. And I don't talk about it a lot, but what I'm thinking of doing is going live like every time I post a new blog post and talking about that particular subject that I am blogging about. So, for example, in my last live, I talked about how I lost 17 pounds and kept it off, and I created a blog post of it as well. So I think I'm going to start doing that. But hey, Skull, how are you? Okay, let's go and let's move forward real quick with the questions that I have. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, and I'll answer them once I've answered these questions. There's only like 3 or 4. All right, so the first question is, what will happen if I wear a corset and I'm already skinny with, say, a 24-inch waist or a 26-inch waist? So first things first, it's important to note what corset training is, and pretty much what it does is it molds your fat and muscle on your torso to create a smaller waist. So I have a lot of fat on my torso. So it's easier to mold fat than it is muscle, right? So what the corset does is it takes the fat and muscle that's on the corset, that's on your torso, and it pushes it up and it pushes it down, and then it eventually creates a cinched waist, right? So if you are naturally skinny already to begin with and you have like little to no fat on your torso, then muscle is harder to mold, right? Because it's firmer and denser. And there's nothing wrong with muscle. We want muscle. So we have, strong bodies and strong bone density and all that. But when you have a lot of muscle on your torso, it's harder to mold. So it may take a little longer for you to see results. So if you are, I don't know, you're naturally skinny and you have a natural small waist, 24, 26-inch naturally small waist, and you're naturally skinny overall, yeah, what will happen is you will still be able to corset train, but like I said, it's just going to most likely probably take a little longer for you to see results because you, naturally skinny person, are molding fat rather than me, naturally chubby person, molding fat. Okay. You can still, of course, 100% waist train and you will still see results, but I don't want you to be upset if you don't see, like, never compare your results with anybody else's corset results, especially online, because just don't, like you don't know how much that person has eaten that day, or how much water they drank, or how bloated they are, or anything like that. And if you have a day where you're pretty bloated and you ate normal meals but you're not seeing the results because you're naturally skinny, like, don't fret. That's what I want to say. Don't fret, and you have to be very, very patient. You have to be patient overall when you're corset training and waist training and all that. But I think Coming from someone who has never been naturally skinny, take my words with a grain of salt. But I think as a naturally thin person who is waist training with corsets, you have to be extra patient due to the fact that you're molding muscle and not so much fat. That was a long winded answer, but I hope that answered your question. I had a few people ask that question with similar wording. So I just kind of like threw that out there. The next question I get frequently is, how do I sleep with my corset on and why do I sleep with my corset on? I could never do that. I would never do that. You're crazy to do, like, all of the stuff, right? When you sleep with your corset on, one, you're asleep, so you don't really have to think about it. You're not eating or drinking anything, so you don't have to loosen or tighten up your corset like you would during the day if you had to do that during the day if you eat with your corset on. Um, Also, our bodies are digesting and doing all their stuff during the night when we're sleeping. And when we're wearing a corset while all that stuff is going on, in my opinion, I've been wearing corsets since 2013. I can attest to the fact that when I wake up in the morning after having worn a corset all night, I wake up in the morning, my waist is snatched, my stomach is flat. I feel like good. Like I feel and look like I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, damn, you got that kind of thing, you know? So I don't see a problem for wearing your corset at night. Now, that's why I wear my corset at night. How do I wear my corset at night? Um, I put my corset on. I don't close it all of the way. I wear a 24-inch corset, which is a larger corset than my daytime corset. And I am actually making a vlog today with how um, that's my litter box, if you can hear that, with how I, not mine, my cat's, with how I sleep with my corset on with like all the pillows and everything. So stay tuned for that. But long story short, what I do is I get one of those king size my pillows where it goes from like it starts at my waist or like a little lower and it goes all the way up to like the nape of my neck. So from okay, YouTube is backwards. So when I turn this way, okay. So it starts right here and it comes all the way down. So it's a king size pillow. So it conforms and shapes into my waist. Like it kind of like supports my waist because the corset is pushing in, right? So the pillow like supports the waist and it also supports my neck. And then I also sleep with a pillow underneath my knees. Sometimes I push it all the way up to my hamstrings or like the bottom of my buttocks. So it's like cushioning the back of my legs and my knees. So I'm kind of like propped up a little bit on my legs. Um, and that's when I sleep on my back. I am usually a back sleeper. Sometimes, though, I will toss and turn and sleep on one side or the other. And it's pretty much the same thing with the pillow arrangement. But the pillow that goes under my legs will go between my knees. And the pillow that is the long my pillow, it'll stay the same. It's just that I cup it a certain way to where it fits right under my neck, and then there's like a concave so it doesn't touch my face, and then the other part touches my head. It's hard to explain, but hopefully if you have this question, you catch the video. I'll title it a certain way, so hopefully you can click it and see how I sleep in my corset with like the pillow arrangements and everything. Also, just keep in mind that sleeping in your corset is not for everyone. Like to those who say, "Oh, I could never, I would never," it's not for everyone. So, it is what it is. If you could never and would never, honestly, never say never because I used to say I would never sleep in my corset. And look at me now, sleeping in my corset 8 to 10 hours a night, depending on how sleepy I am. So, yeah, never say never. Also, if you are waist training and wearing your corsets, do have an open mind because wearing corsets, it can be a little not provocative, but some people may see that it is provocative and everything. So it's just important to have an open mind with corsets in general, right? That is, if you're not a troll as asking that question and you legit want an answer to that question. Let's see. So there were some comments I received, which I was a little flabbergasted about. People are saying that they're buying corsets and then they're not fitting. Okay, if you're gonna spend money on, say, a t-shirt, you're gonna look at the like sizing, right? Just to confirm that you're getting the right size. Why not do the same thing with corsets? And corsets are way more expensive, like 80 plus, 60 plus, right? So I have a video on how to measure yourself. But long story short, say you're a 28-inch natural waist. You're going to minus or subtract 4 to 6 inches from your natural 28-inch waist. So 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. You will either get a 24-inch corset, 23, 22, or a 22-inch corset, depending on a lot of factors, such as if you have more fat on your torso, you could possibly go to the 22-inch corset. If you're very muscular and or bony on your torso, maybe start with the 26-inch corset. Um, there are other factors, but that is like the main factor. That I want you to consider, especially if it's your first time purchasing a corset and you're like, I purchased the wrong corset, or I purchased the corset, I thought it was my right size, but it didn't fit. Like, now you're upset. Like, you know what I mean? So I straightened my hair, by the way. I don't know if you guys could tell. I bought the Dyson finally when it was on sale, and I just like wanted to use all the accessories, so it's like not like you see these bumps. I didn't do it correctly, but anyways, so that is that. Also, if you're 28-inch naturally, like your natural waist is 28 inches, don't buy a 28-inch corset. And don't buy corsets that are on Amazon. Yes, they're cheap, but they're not real corsets. Maybe they are, but I have never seen someone purchase a corset on Amazon and be thrilled with the results. So I always recommend Orchard Corset. Lately, I've been recommending this corset, the CS 201 corset. It is for smaller torso lengths. I personally have, I guess, a medium to long torso length, but I like it, especially if you're new to corsets. You don't want something that's extremely long on you because you're like, you, it's a little bit more difficult to move around with a longer corset. So I always recommend the CS 201 from Orchard Corset. They're always having deals, and yeah, just get that corset. Let's see. One other question I had was, what tips do you have for beginners? So before I move forward with this comment question, I wanted to just reiterate over and over again. I have a playlist that is titled Beginners Corset Training, Beginner Waist Training, whatever that is. So please do look at that playlist. It answers so many questions. Um, yeah, someone responded. I don't know if they want their name, if like they want the credit, so I'm not gonna, because sometimes people don't want their names said out loud, and sometimes people do, so I'm just not going to. But they said the main thing is slow and steady, and season each corset so they mold to your body and before lacing them down in any significant way. When you're able to close a corset, um, or you get used to that size, don't go straight down to the next size. Also, sleep in the previous corset each time. That really helped me. Okay, so just picking this apart, yes, of course, go slow and steady and season your corset. And by season your corset, they mean, I have a video on this, but they mean pretty much, long story short, wear your corset like, let me show you. I have my corset on, and it is looking like that. It's seasoning. I'm seasoning my corset. I'm not closing it completely. I'm letting it mold to my body very slowly and steadily. Otherwise, it can damage the corset, and it can also damage you if you like do it too tight and you've never worn a corset in your life. I was choking. I think I was talking too fast. But anyways, so yeah. And then when you're able to close the corset, get used to that size. Don't go straight down to the next size. So 100%. Once I close, like for example, once I close this 22-inch corset once I close this 22-inch corset, I'm not going to go straight to a 20-inch corset. I'm going to probably wear this corset for maybe a couple more months, maybe up to a year, just so my body really gets like used to the 22-inch corset. Same thing with my 24-inch corset. I haven't gotten it closed completely. I do wear that corset to sleep every night. I don't wear it closed just because I don't want to, especially because I just wear it closed. I mean, especially just because I just wear it to sleep and I don't want like too much compression on my torso. I want to be like comfortable, you know what I mean? So I wore that corset like to bed. And then I finally realized, okay, I'm gonna get another corset, but it's just for the daytime. So even though I didn't close my 24-inch corset, but it's like this this much more. Oh my God, this much more to being closed. I'm not gonna just like get rid of it and stop wearing it and not call it a day. Like I'm gonna still wear it. So yeah, I agree with that person. Like, don't go straight down to the next size. Just keep wearing my 24-inch corset and start wearing my 22-inch corset. Yeah. Hi, Ethan. Yeah, I was traveling. I went to Tahiti and then I went to Fiji. So fun times. I have a bunch of photos on my Instagram. Excuse me, on my Instagram. See, I just burped, and that was because of the water. I drank it way too fast. The corset isn't tight on me, as you had just saw when I turned around. But like, if you do anything too fast, like talk too fast or drink water too fast or anything like that, and you're wearing a corset, the stupid thing is freaking leaking. You will tend to like gulp air, and then that's why you burp. So I ordered another one, but it's not coming, I think, until like the 8th or the 10th. Anyways, so yeah, that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, oh, I wanted to address one more thing really fast. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comment box or in the chat, or comment them down below if you're watching this over. So addressing back flab with regard to corsets. This is literally like the biggest headache. If there is a comment that is like the biggest headache, it's something regarding the back fat. It seems that there's a lot of people who don't understand that when you put pressure on something that's like has a lot of skin or is flabby or fat, that it's gonna compress and the fat is gonna sit over the whatever it is you have, in this case a corset. And there are some people who can't get it through their thick little skulls that is what's happening with the corset, especially when the corset is like this close to being closed. Or I think I get a lot of comments that are trolls, yes, and also people who just comment just to comment, just to have their voice and opinions heard, and also they're not using common sense. There's a lot of common sense is not that common anymore, as we all know already. But yeah, so when you're wearing a corset and you have any form of skin, it's not just fat, it's also skin. When you have any skin as a human being, you are going to have some overlap, whether it's a lot because you have a lot of back fat, or it's skin because your corset is so tight. Now, why do we have that? Well, there's something called a rib spring, and that's the measurement of the top of the corset. So we have an we have an underbust measurement, which is like, when you buy your bra, your underbust corset, which is under the breast, goes all the way around. It's the circumference of the top right here where I'm moving. That's your underbust, right? The rib spring, which is the circumference or the measurement of the actual corset itself, is not always the perfect size that correlates with your underbust. So my underbust is, let's say it's a 36. It's a 30. Sometimes it fluctuates between a 34 and a 36. It's a 36. This corset has an 8-inch rib spring and it's a 22-inch corset. So to find the rib spring, you're going to add those two numbers. So 22-inch corset plus 8-inch rib spring. They, on the website, wherever you purchase a corset, they usually have the rib spring measurement. So 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So when this corset is completely closed, it's going to force about 6 inches of fat or skin around above this corset. Because remember, my underbust is 36, and when this corset is completely closed, it will be as though I have a 30-inch underbust because it has a very small rib spring of 8 inches. I do have another corset that has, I believe it's a rib spring of 10 inches, and it doesn't give as much back fat because it has a 10-inch rib spring. But yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Like, just cover it up with a shawl, a scarf, a cardigan, a freaking blanket. My cat is always pushing things down in my bathroom. I don't know if you heard that. Um, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. The only people that it's a big deal for are people who are watching my videos online and are like, I'm naturally skinny. Why does that happen to you? That's gross. Like shut the fuck up, please. Some people think that I'm really rude in my comments, but like, if you're gonna be rude to me, I'm gonna clap back. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, no. Like, if you're gonna ask a stupid question, you're gonna get a stupid response. Okay? Like, if you're gonna troll me and say rude things, like something about like some girl, and it's usually women. They're like, oh, I forget what this girl said. I forget what she said, and I don't want to look for her right now, but she said something rude, like, the back fat looks not atrocious, but like one of those kind of words. And I was like, that's really nice to say to a stranger online. Like, people have no filter. Like, would you say that to my face? 0% chance you would say that to my face. Especially if I was walking around in a corset. Like, if I went to the mall, I doubt nobody would come up to me and be like, do you know that you have like all that back fat? Did you know that? Nobody would say that. Nobody. So, because I've worn my corset out and about, although I do usually cover up with a cardigan, but like, you can still see the corset and you can still see the back fat, and it's just that's what you get for putting yourself online, right? I do have another question that was thinking about covering, but I'm gonna wait till my blog post is done so I can do a video on it, because I think that that's a really good idea to like make lives and cover like my blog post topic, just because I want to start like posting more lives, but also like talking about my blog. Um, so yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. Good outfit for today. Looks beautiful. Thank you. It's a two-piece brown top with brown leggings. Glowing that maybe you lost some weight as well. Yeah, I lost 17 pounds. So I'm still working towards losing more, even though I didn't go to the gym today because there's no excuse, okay? But I didn't go to the gym today because I was writing my blog post and I was watching a baking show with my mom. And you know when you just kind of like get caught up? And that's what happened to me, okay? So I got caught up. And it's okay to get caught up, you know, but not every day. Once in a while, it's okay to get caught up. So yeah, tomorrow is what, Wednesday. I'm gonna go to the gym. I have my ab class I want to do today. I try to go to the class and do my ab workout, or their ab workout, the class's ab workout twice a week. So yeah. Well, I think that's all I have to say, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's any videos you want to see. Oh, I know in my last live, I said something about how like I want to do a video where I like take measurements of like my whole body, like my arms, legs, da da da. I don't know if I want all of that online. I did that in the past, and it's just very vulnerable for me to do that. It's just very vulnerable. So I think like if I lose more weight, or once I lose more weight, I think I'll do that, and then I'll measure myself. Like once I'm comfortable, I think with myself a little bit more, then I'll do the measurements on camera. But if you didn't watch the other video, I lost half an inch just on my waist, just by corset training and dieting. So that's awesome. And just by wearing my corset to bed. So that's awesome. And there's no glute fat. Let people say whatever, you're unique. I have glute fat, but I'm working on that. Anyways, guys, please be sure to like this video. It really helps my channel, blah, blah, blah. Comment down below what you want to see next. And I think that's all I have to say for today. I love you. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time.